Hi, my name is Garance French and this is Garance French Evolution. So, we are back finally for the third season of Bridgerton. So, this season I have a lot to talk about and I couldn't do it, so I'm doing this a little bit late, but I don't care. So yeah, we are going to be talking about the main differences between the book and the TV show and a few things I've noticed. Like obviously I'm one person, maybe I forgot some stuff, maybe I didn't see some stuff. If you find things that I haven't talked about, please feel free to point them out. Yeah, let's dive into Bridgerton Season 3. So season 3 is about the romance between Penelope Featherington and Colin Bridgerton. So this is based on the book Bridgerton Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, Colin's story. So this is the fourth book in the series, but the third season in the show. It was published in 2002 and written by Julia Quinn. I was born in 2002, like this book is as old as me. Probably older because I was born in December, so... Anyway, so before we dive into this, I'm going to be doing a little sum up, a spoiler-free sum up of what happens this season. What's going to happen anyway. Penelope Featherington has had a crush on Colin Bridgerton for years. She has been out as a debutante for a while and decided to forget the idea of ever getting a husband. But the first son of the Bridgerton family is back on his travels and something new starts between them. Furthermore, all the secrecy around Lady Whistledown is starting to make people more curious. And there's nothing like a large sum of money to make them want to discover who she is. So that was basically the sum up for both the book and the TV show. They are quite different, but that is the global story that happens. And so we're going to be diving into the main differences, and they are a lot because this is the third season. Like it has built on two previous seasons of differences, so it's a lot. We're going to get into this. The first thing we have to talk about is the timeline. So in the TV show, it's only 1 year later. So we have, I don't remember the year, was it 1813 for Daphne, 1814 for Anthony, and now 1815 for Colin and Penelope. But the thing is, in the books, it's much later. It's like 10 years later. So I think it is 1823. 10 years later, after the first story, after Daphne's story. So yeah, I think it's 1823. So they are much older. Penelope is like 27, 28. And Colin is 33, I believe, like in his 30s. So by then, Penelope is still unmarried, and that is much more like spinster territory because she's in her late 20s. And in the TV show, she's been out for 3 years, which is considered a lot, but she's still, I think she's still like 18 or 19, like 20 or under. But in the book, she's really like 28, and so that's like, you're basically dead at this point. For like societies, like you're an unmarried woman, like you have no prospect at 28 to get married. So that's also something that plays a lot more into the book, is that yeah, they are much older. Talking about Penelope, we are talking about Lady Whistledown. In the TV show, we have known that Penelope is Lady Whistledown since season 1, like since the end of season 1. But in the books, at this point, we don't know who she is, in the beginning anyway. We still don't know 10 years later who Lady Whistledown is. So she's been writing her column for 10 years and no one knows who she is. So that also makes a big, like, a different impact on the story, because in the TV show it's only been like 3 years, but in the book it's been 10, like a full decade of roasting people, and so there's much more anger like built up against her. The goal of this season of this book is to find Lady Whistledown, and that's something because in the first 3 books people don't really focus on that, but it's getting like more and more. I was getting more and more impatient anyway, because it was getting kind of boring. Like you can't just repeat the same thing over, like it was getting kind of boring. And so the goal of this plot is to find Lady Whistledown. But there are a few things that are different in the books and the TV show. First of all, in the books, it is Lady Danbury who offers a large amount of money to find Lady Whistledown. It's at a ball at a party and everyone is speculating. She says, I will give you, I think it's like £5,000 or something, if you find Lady Whistledown. And so it's her who sets that up. But in the TV show, it's the Queen who like goes around, she doesn't go around, but she makes, like she gives to people this little pamphlet saying, if you have any information about Lady Whistledown, I will give you this amount of money. So that's very different, because in the book, the Queen is not present. That's something I've said in the previous videos. In the book, the Queen is maybe mentioned, but she's not present. And Lady Danbury is much more like the Queen is in the TV show. She's much more like this in the book. So it's really Lady Danbury who starts it all. And a lot of the things from this season, they are the same, like the actions are the same as in the book, but it's just like different locations or different events. So there are a lot of things I'm not going to mention, but a few dialogues, things that happen at the ball, and in the TV show it happens there, and it's just the small things. But I wanted to mention that because Lady Danbury, she said that at the ball, and a lot of things happen at the ball here. Talking about balls, oh my god, no, not like that. No, we're talking about love interest, and I want to say ball because it's at the ball, but Lord Devlin, let's talk about Lord Devlin. He's in the TV show, he is not mentioned at all in the book. There's no sight of Lord Devlin, the vegetarian king. He was a fine love interest, I think, in the first half of the first season. He completely disappeared after in the second half, which I didn't really like. I think he would have made a great match with Cressida, but in the TV show, not in the book, because it's much different in the book. But yeah, there is no Lord Devlin at all. Now let's skip over a lot of the story and go straight to the engagement. So Penelope and Colin get engaged. It is quite the same, but it's also very different. Well, they get engaged after the carriage scene, which is pretty much the same. There's a carriage scene where there's fingers involved, and then they get engaged. Although it's not in the same place in the story, in the plot, but I'll talk about this later. But anyway, they do the carriage, the carriage lovemaking, and then they have to he proposes to her, and he says the same thing in the book and in the TV show. He said, "Oh, Penelope Featherington, will you marry me?" The thing is, the way they announce engagement is not the same. In the TV show, they go to the Bridgerton house first, and they say, "Hey, we're engaged," blah blah blah. But in the book, they go to the Featherington house first, and especially because they're the whole family, the mother, the 3 daughters, and their husbands. Well, there's 3 daughters also. I don't think it's mentioned, but there are 3 daughters. Like Penelope has 3 sisters in the book. She only has 2 in the TV show. The 3 daughters, and 2 of them have husbands, and one of them is younger and she doesn't have a husband yet. But they are all here for tea because they meet up once a week. And so they are here right now, and so Colin is like, well, let's go there, and let's go there, we engage. And there's a whole story because in the TV show he stands up for her, but much later, in the episode. But here when he stands up for Penelope, that's right then, because he comes in and say to Mrs. Featherington, he's like, I'm engaged to your daughter. No, he says I want to basically ask for your daughter's hand in marriage, and she immediately assumes that he's not talking about Penelope, with whom he arrived holding hands. She thinks he's talking about her younger daughter, who is much younger and isn't married yet. And he's like, in what world did you I came in with Penelope, we were holding hands, and you thought I was not wanting her. You so don't care about her that you couldn't even imagine me wanting to marry someone else than her. And it's a whole thing, and he stands up to her there and then, to her mother, while everyone else has gone out. And it's kind of the same, saying, yeah, you've been ignoring her all this time, and immediately I say your daughter, you think of someone else rather than Penelope, who is the most likely choice in this scenario. And he stands up for her, kind of like he did in the TV show. Now let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about, well, not you, but let's talk about Colin and Penelope. Oh my god, that rhymes. Let's talk about sex, baby, about Colin and Penelope. Yeah, well, okay. I could work with everyone. No, Daphne and Simon would rhyme. By Kate and Anthony. I should have done that in the previous video. Anyway, let's talk about sex. So there is some premarital sex. In the TV show, they have sex on the sofa. That was quite an explicit scene, the mirror scene and everything. Whoo, damn! These people are nasty. But yeah, they have sex on the couch in the new place they are going to be staying at, and they have sex before marriage. In the book, they also have some premarital sex, but it's not in the same place. They have sex after their engagement party. So yeah, they just sort of skip. So hey, bye, and no, they don't even say bye. I think they just sort of skip and say, you wanna go to my room? And they go to his room, and the magic happens, I guess. But yeah, that's something. It's a little bit different. Talking about the Featheringtons, in the TV show, they have some money problems. They've always had some money problems, and in this season in particular, they need a boy because they need an heir for the title, to hold the title, because otherwise the estate and everything is going to go to a cousin, distant cousin, and everything, and they don't want that. There is none of that in the books. They are barely mentioned in the books. Yeah, in the TV show here, they really need a boy, and the girls are pregnant and stuff. It's really funny. I love the Featherington sisters. They're really funny. So yeah, there is no mention of that at all. There is absolutely no mention of that in the book. Now, let's talk about Cressida. I didn't like her in the book, but in the TV show, I love her. I love her. She pretends to be Lady Whistledown. She takes credit. So just like I said, it's the same actions, but not exactly in the same setting. So in the book, she does pretend to be Lady Whistledown. But as I said, in the book, it's like 10 years later. So by then, Cressida was already married, and she's a widow now. Her name is not Cressida Cowper anymore. I don't remember, but her name is not Cressida Cowper. She's someone else. And she's still kind of a mean girl, and she's like, she wants money because she doesn't have much money, like her husband didn't have much money, and so now she's just a widow and she likes the attention still, but except she's older and no one cares about her, so she's even more bitter. And so in the TV show, she is just like Eloise and Penelope, or no, she debuted with Daphne, so it's like her third year out or something, and she's desperately trying to find a husband, and she can't find any husband, and she's really devastated because she really needs the money too. In both the TV show and the book, she pretends to be Lady Whistledown. But this comes differently because in the TV show, you know, the queen says, I'll give you this amount of money if you find Lady Whistledown. And she, at Colin and Penelope's engagement party, she's like, oh, by the way, I am she. She says, well, you want to know who Lady Whistledown is? I am she. It's a whole thing because she has trouble because her father is trying to marry her off to like some old ass man and she doesn't want to. And she's like, if I claim to be Lady Whistledown, I can get the money and I can live on my own for a while and figure that out. In the book, it's just she claims to be Lady Whistledown after Lady Deverry says, I will give you this amount of money if you find Lady Whistledown. And it's at the ball where she says, I am Lady Whistledown. And everyone is like, like everyone is blown out of their mind, and she pretends to be Lady Whistledown for the money, but also for the attention in the book because, as I said, she's been a widow, she doesn't have money, and she likes to be the center of the attention. She is much more of a mean girl. In the TV show, they've managed to make her, to humanize her, make her bitter because she has problems. In the book, she's just straight up a bitch. She is a bitch, and that's it. And I kind of like that, but I prefer the human version. Also, I love the actress. What's her name? Jessica something. I love her, the actress in the TV show, like she's so great. Anyway, so she does pretend to be Lady Whistledown, but she's quickly like put to rest. She's like the actual Lady Whistledown, aka Penelope, quickly says, hell no, like, bitch, who you think you are? I am Lady Whistledown, and fuck you. Go believe that's what happens. Then Cressida finds out who Lady Whistledown is, that is Penelope. She blackmails her. So it happens both in the book and the TV show, and so she says, I want this amount of money, otherwise I'll tell everyone. And that's what leads to the end, when I'm gonna talk about the end too, but that's what is the end. So Cressida, her story is kind of the same, but in the TV show they made her more human. Another thing that is very, very important is Colin finding out that Penelope is Lady Whistledown. It happens at two different stages of the story. In the TV show, he finds out after they are engaged. So they have the premarital couch sex, and he finds out afterwards that he follows her to a printer. When she's about to discredit Cressida for being Lady Whistledown, he follows her to the printer and he's like, oh, you Lady Whistledown, and they have a fight and everything. But in the book, it is kind of different. In the book, it has been 10 years. She's exploring the fact that maybe she doesn't want to do that anymore, and she doesn't really know. We follow her as she's going to go print. So in the book, we have a very, a great detailed depiction of how she publishes her work. Basically, she takes a carriage and she goes to a kind of shaky part of town, and there she goes into a church, and in a certain bench of the church she leaves her what she has written into a little bag, and someone else will come and take it and go to take it to the printer. In TV shows, something like that, she just shows up and she pretends to be someone else, and here that's how she does it. And so Colin sees her and he follows the carriage because he's like, where's she going? Like, she's going to a weird part of town and she could be, there could be dangers there, so I need to follow her and make sure she's alright. And so he's followed her to the church. He sees her as she's putting the little paper in a bag, and she's about to come out, and he's like standing in the way in the church. He's like, girl. And so there she knows that he's going to find out. And so he said, well, what's in there? What's on the paper? And she doesn't want to answer, and she's crying and everything, and he gets kind of angry. In the book, Colin gets kind of angry a lot. And it's honestly like, whatever. And so he takes paper and he sees "Dearest gentle readers," and he's like, you Lady Whistledown. And so they starting to have a fight in the church, but then he doesn't want to attract the attention, so he just says and then her carriage has gone away, so he's like, come into my carriage, we're gonna go back home. And in the carriage they have a fight, like, what, you Lady Whistledown, and you tell me, and you've been writing all these things about everyone, and kind of like what happens in the TV show, but it happens in the carriage. Then that's when the fingers come. That's when the fingers come to play. Is that after the carriage ride, they do the finger stuff, and then they announce the engagement. So he knows that she's Lady Whistledown before they get engaged, which is very different. In the TV show, he doesn't know it until later, and then he doesn't talk to her when he finds out. He doesn't talk to her for a while. But in the book, it's very different because he knows that she's Lady Whistledown, and he still wants to be with her. And that's like they don't have much problem after that. That's what I mean, is that he knows, he's conflicted about it, he has feelings, but he knows and he still accepted her, which is different from the TV show. Talking about that, before we get into the siblings and their stories, at the end, so Penelope reveals that she is Lady Whistledown to everyone. In the TV show, her sisters, who are pregnant now, organize a ball because they say, oh, now we're gonna we're pregnant and we're going to show, and nobody's gonna, like, we're not supposed to be out of society when we're pregnant. So let's throw a ball one last time with some of the money that we have. And so there, she reveals that she's Lady Whistledown, and everyone sort of accepts her, but you know, like, still the queen accepts her and says, okay, that you can keep printing it. In the book, she's blackmailed by Cressida, and Colin says, all right, then we'll just reveal to the world that you're Lady Whistledown. And so there's a ball. It's not their engagement, so I don't know what ball. I think it's a ball thrown by like Lady Bridgerton. Like, I don't remember, but there's a huge ball thrown. I think it's in Bridgerton house, so it must have been like their family member. And basically, at some point, Colin says, like, before that, he says, okay, you're gonna stay with my mom and my sisters, and he sends them word, like, stay with Penelope, do not leave her at all. And so they're like, oh, what is this? It's playing something. And then he goes to see Anthony, and they start playing a thing. And during the ball, basically, they go, him and Penelope, Colin and Penelope, they go onto a balcony, and he makes a nice speech about, oh, that's my fiance. Are they married at this point? I think they're married. Well, that's my wife, and Colin, that's my wife, Bridgerton. And he's like, that's my wife, and I love her, blah, blah, blah. And he gives this whole nice speech about her, and she's like blushing and crying. And then he says, oh, and by the way, she is Lady Whistledown. Like, he basically reveals that she's Lady Whistledown, and she's like, why? Like, why would you do that? And he's like, she's Lady Whistledown, and yeah, maybe she hasn't been nice to everyone, but she's an amazing writer, an accomplished and published writer, and she's better than a lot of you. And basically makes this whole speech. And he reveals to everyone that she's Lady Whistledown. And the girl is just like, okay. Everyone in the ball is like, what? Why? And then something like love happens, is that I think it's Simon, because in the book, we don't see them in the TV show, but Simon and Daphne are here sometimes, especially here they are, like, it's a ball thrown by their family, so they are here. And so Simon is the one who starts clapping. He's like, it's like slow clapping, and then Anthony joins him, and it's like the boy supporting Penelope. That melted my heart. I wish there was that moment in the TV show. That melted my heart. And everyone starts clapping, and Penelope is like, they're accepting me and stuff. And just like in the TV show, she knows that they are accepting her right now, but there will be some problems later on. But she's like, well, you know, I sort of like came out as Lady Whistledown. She's very happy about it, and like she's worried, but she's relieved that everyone knows who she is. And so yeah, that's Penelope's story mostly. Before I go to my personal thoughts, I'm gonna go a little bit about the siblings. So in the books, we don't have much about the other siblings. As I said in the previous videos, the books are very focused on those, like the sibling, and we might hear some stuff. We don't hear a lot from everyone else. Everything that happens in TV show, Benedict liking guys too, Eloise being friend with Cressida, and all of this, none of this happens. So I don't want to go too much into it because it doesn't happen at all in the TV show, in the book. So yeah, but something that's different. In the TV show, Eloise already knows from starting through season 2, she already knows that Penelope is Lady Whistledown. Here, she doesn't know at all. In this season, she wants to force Penelope to say to Colin that she's Lady Whistledown because they're engaged, and she's like, you need to tell him or I will. And in the book, it's very different. Colin finds out, he's the first one to find out. So when he finds out after falling at a church and in the carriage scene, he finds out and then he doesn't tell anyone. And he's the only one to know. So Eloise has no idea, and that's just something I want to point out. Another thing I want to talk about before I go to my personal thoughts is Francesca. So in this season, we have a new actress. I love her, she's so pretty, I love her, So we have a new actress who plays Francesca, and as I said, the book takes place 10 years later, and we do hear of Francesca, she does come back. But by then, she's already a widow. Spoiler alert, by the way, spoiler alert, she's already a widow by then. She's gonna have her own story afterward. And in this season, since it's only like 1815, I think, well, she has not been married yet, and so she finds a husband, Lord Kilmartin, and they fall in love, and they get married, and they move to Scotland, which will set up her season later on. I haven't read her book yet. I don't know how I feel because a lot of people, given how it ended with her, like with Netflix gender banning Michael Sterling, because basically, if you don't know, Francesca, she is married to Kill Martin, John, I think his name is, and then later on he dies, and his cousin Michael takes the title, and they have a romance. I don't know about, I haven't read that yet, so I don't know. But and in here, they at the end of season 3, they have introduced not Michael but Michaela Sterling. And so we can clearly see that she falls in love with her, like she's like, and people have a lot of negative things to say about this. I personally don't. I personally love it. I cried so much when this happened. Like, I was so happy. And a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say, but most of them are just because they're homophobic, let's be clear. And they say that them, like, gender banning Michael is going to ruin like her story and everything. And so I don't know about that part. I haven't read the book yet, so I will read the book and then maybe make a video about my thoughts if you're interested. Yeah, I feel like I've also heard a lot of people who said actually it doesn't change much and it could still work. Like, so I don't know, I need to see that by myself, but I just wanted to address that. And I can't wait to see season 4 and all of that, especially with Francesca. I just love it. So I think I've covered the main differences. I might have forgotten some, but that's what I saw mostly. So yeah, that was a lot. Now my personal thoughts on this season and this book. I found the book to be pretty boring, I'm not gonna lie, and like what I've seen of other people, they also feel this way. The book is kind of boring. There are some nice moments, but it's very dull. Nothing much happens. It's a lot of talking, and it's a lot of, I don't know, nothing much happens, and it's very sad until the end when the ball and everything and the blackmail. But it's kind of long to go through, and it is kind of, yeah, it's kind of long. So yeah, the book is kind of boring. It was very like the season like the TV show, it was less boring because there was like the other siblings as well. But a lot of people were disappointed with the Colin, like the Penelope plus Colin, they like their couple because they didn't have that much screen time and it wasn't build up. Like I kind of agree, it was kind of rushed of like, oh, all of a sudden, just in the books as well, it's like all of a sudden, oh, I have feelings for you and I realize you're pretty, and it's like, yeah, but it feels kind of false and I just didn't really care for it too much. So this is definitely like my least favorites of the 4. I've only read 4 Bridgerton books so far, and this is my least favorite. This season is nice. I love the costuming, even though it's not accurate and everything. I just love it. And I love the side plots, but it's like I like the side plots more than the actual plot, and that kind of bothered me. Like, it wasn't like, I love the looks, I love the actors and everything, but the plot in itself kind of was like, kind of, yeah. So it is, I think the second season is the best so far, and in my opinion the third book about Benedict is the best book, but I can't wait to see Benedict's story. So I have mixed feelings about this season, about this book. I still liked it, like I loved it, it wasn't bad either, but I have mixed feelings about a lot of things. I think that's it. I think that's my whole opinion on the subject. Like, if I have some more thoughts, if you want me to cover more subject about Bridgerton, please feel free to put it in the comments, I would gladly do it. And yeah, I'm very excited for season 4. We have to wait for 2 years, but that's gonna give me time to read the entire book, so it's fine. But I'm very excited. I still liked it, and I love Nicola. How do you say her name? I'm sorry. Is she Irish or something? Nicola. I'm just calling her Nicola. I love her. She just released a song called Shoes More Shoes, and I'm like, this is so great. I've been listening to it on repeat. I love it. And yeah, she's great. And oh, so something else I wanted to mention, I need to make a video about, is those like mixed weight couples on TV. Because ever since it came out, people, like someone put out an article saying, are we ready for mixed weight couples on TV? Because Nicola is a bit larger. And like, mixed weight couple? Mixed weight couple? I think I'm gonna rant about it like right now. I'm gonna make a short video where I just rant about it because I have a lot to say about it and I'm very pissed. I've been making a few of those like rant videos lately. It's really fun. It takes my anger out. It's fun. So yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I have another channel called Garance French if you want to check it out. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye.